What are the two stories about today, by the way?
The two stories are about CM Punk and Bray Wyatt.
Okay. Well, those are the pretty hot ones right now. So I did the we actually did, you send me this the data. I'm gonna hit you with something when we talk about it.
Oh, what, the Punk data?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'll finish his career at AEW making $417,000 a match.
Really?
That's sort of 9.6 divided by 23. If they buy him out, that's $417,000 a match.
Yeah, because so you take away 1 month for the suspension, which is not paid.
Right.
That leaves the
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he did I think he did house shows that didn't go on record.
Right.
But
why? Let me ask you a question. Wait, this is 13 months, 9.6. That's how much he made in 13 months?
Well, if they buy him out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's $5 million a year. They're going to pay him till the end of this year. He's got a third-year option, which no one's going to pick up.
Right.
So
it's $5 million for 2 years with an option for 3.
Yeah. So they can't get out. It's not a WWE contract. Like, it doesn't have a downside. Like, it doesn't have a downside with the structure of minimum dates and merchandise percentage and everything like that. It's like, here you go. Here's like $5 million.
Right.
Wait. He's not getting paid off his shirts anymore like he was off Pro Wrestling Tees. AEW takes that money from the AEW shop site.
It wasn't AEW linked to only Tees, Pro Wrestling Tees.
I think Pro Wrestling Tees prints for them, but Punk used to have a Pro Wrestling Tees site, and as these guys know, you get
you're muted, Konnan.
You get $7 a shirt or whatever when you sell them. So, but he's listed on AEW shop and Pro Wrestling Tees, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what they worked out for that. Maybe he relinquished.
Let's go back. Let's stop talking about that and go backwards and talk about this again.
Yeah.
Here. All right, let's start. Okay.
Yo, we're back with our boy from London town with the hot news, Billy Body. What it do? Boom.
Yeah, where do we start? I got a couple of bits this week. We'll start with the Bray Wyatt stuff, I think. So let me work backwards here. This is making it more interesting because I've seen as I've got you two guys, Glyn and Konnan. So what do you think of when I say Sting money? Like, that was a term that was around. Obviously, it's come through to the dirt sheets and everything. Most people know about it, but what do you immediately think when you say Sting money?
So, like, for AEW or WWE?
In the 90s.
From back when you was in WCW, that was a term.
In the 90s, before Hall and Nash came in, it was $750, but I think he made more.
No, I'd say when I think of Sting, I think $1 million players. Guys that make at least $1 million a year.
So when Hall and Nash came in and they came in on Sting money, was there any were any of you guys rattled by that? Was any of you?
No, not us.
No one cared. No one cared. Right. All right. So what do you think of when I say Warrior deal? Because that happened when you guys were in the company and Warrior came in. Did you know his deal?
It was $3 million for 3 months.
Something like that. Ridiculous money.
No, it wasn't that. But it was
ridiculous. Yeah.
It was $1 million for 40 dates. It was the first date orientated deal. Like, Warrior was very much like, I don't want to be here that much. Like, so I need 12 weeks off. So the Warrior deal is carried over, and the Warrior deal obviously evolved into the Brock deal, and the 40 days side of it has stayed consistent. But whereas $1 million got the attention of a lot of people back in '98, obviously with inflation, that's gone up to $2 million. Well, Bray Wyatt is back on that date, on that similar deal of 40 to 50 dates, which is what he'll be doing for $3 million a year. That's what he's coming back for. So it's similar to what Roman's getting. Roman was back for around about 100 dates. But the thing is that what we're seeing at the moment is that he's not doing 100 dates now because he worked everything on the front end of that. So I explained this to you before, when people were saying that he's becoming a part-timer, it's no, he's actually worked a load of his contract at the front to reestablish house show business because coming back from the pandemic, they weren't sure how everybody was gonna come back to it. So the reason why you see less of Roman is because they're saving dates for WrestleMania season and things like that, where they want him to be there more consistently. There's no point having him there for the NFL. But he does 100 dates a year. Bray Wyatt's going to do half of that. So he's coming straight in on an immediate deal, $3 million, 50 dates, and that's what he's going to do. In addition to that,
I don't know. I want to make a point here, though. I wonder if it's one of those deals where 50 appearances okay, is what he's getting paid for, or if
not 50 wrestling matches, no.
Okay, no, but here's my point. Because I remember there would be a deal that if when we used to do 2 days in a row of TV tapings, right, is that they would want to bring in somebody for like the one day, but they wanted to film him for 2 days worth of stuff. But the contract was written, no, I get paid for 2 days if I'm appearing on television for 2 days. My question is with Bray Wyatt, he's the type of character, kind of like Cross, where you can just film a bunch of stuff, vignettes. He shows up, and we don't need him for 50 live appearances. We need him for 100 appearances, 50 live.
And this is a good point. This is a good point you're making, and I'll tell you why. Because I've always said this, but under Vince McMahon, everything was so disorganized that they couldn't shoot a week ahead. With Triple H and his relationship with Edge, Edge immediately pitched when he was in Judgment Day that he instead of just instead of him like being missing for weeks, Edge pitched to do more work while he was in. So Edge wanted to do the vignettes with Rhea and Damian Priest at the time. So when Edge was there, he would do his bit in ring, and he would do the backstage skits, which was his own idea, where he was pushing WWE. Let's forward plan a week ahead, so I can be on for 2 weeks, so there isn't this big gap. It's not. I don't know whether that didn't occur to them to do that, or whether it was just so disorganized that they didn't do it. Under Triple H, I know you guys are high on him, and I've been the one who's been tagged as being critical of him when I haven't really been. I've just been saying very much it's not as good as people are saying. But the organization and the story arcs and the planning and everything is much better. And
in terms of... let me ask you a question. What is it that you think that he's doing wrong?
He's not doing anything wrong. It's not that he's wrong. It's that what I explained it on the Informer is that, look, we waited. The product's been bad for a long time, and we waited for a long time for Vince to leave, retire, die, sell. All of these things were on the table. It's ended up we're seeing what it was, and it's not as big and as dramatic as I hoped for. It's very much, it's almost unnoticeable at first. I mean, obviously, as you dissect it, you can see it's noticeable. I just don't think that they're addressing the issues of long matches, the usage of the 3 hours. Look, it's undoubtedly better, but I just felt like I was always, in my mind, I was always dreaming of a bigger change when Vince died or left or whatever. I just don't think it's very dramatic. I don't think it's...
Well, you expected a dramatic change and it wasn't necessary. And I do think that one of the changes that he's done, which I like, is he took a lot of the buffoonery and the corny out, which I hated. And not a fan of long matches, but I guess when he was in NXT and that was kind of their calling card, he said, if I ever take over, I'm going to have good long matches. Because the matches haven't been bad. They're just too long.
Right.
I will say this too. There's not a lot of stuff that you watch, like I said, the 24/7 stuff that looks like people behaving in a way that no human being would behave on a professional wrestling show. These guys are professional wrestlers. I think the fact that they just took a lot of that stuff out is I'm not saying it's great, but it is a noticeable change that there's not stupid on the show each week, So.
And I'm a big I like all the stuff they've been doing. They brought Kevin Cross back. They did the Judgment Day. They put Dominic in the Judgment Day. They've done a lot of cool shit. The one thing that I do not agree with him is he really gives a lot of time to Damage Control, and I find them uber unentertaining. And these girls have zero chemistry. And if you want to talk about zero chemistry, look at the babyface side. Alexa Bliss, Bianca, and Asuka have nothing going on. But go ahead.
Yeah. What's your other story?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to add on to this, you're just going to lose me for a second. You can still hear me though, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that was supposed to happen, which I don't think is happening anymore, is that they were supposed to be building a faction for Bray to be in charge of, but the decision has been made, I think, over the last week, that these characters need to remain as individuals due to the lack of depth on the roster. But the original plan from a while back was to re-sign Dexter Lumis as Mercy the Buzzard, Braun Strowman as a real-life representation of Huskus, Scarlett was the representation of Abby the Witch, and Karrion Kross is the White Rabbit. So these were people that were supposed to be with Bray Wyatt, But now I think the decision has been made to have them be independent without being in his faction because of the lack of depth and stars that they have. But this is what Bray wanted to do. And I think now what we're seeing is that he's going to be an individual. I like this. I don't think it's dead off the table. I've just been told they're not doing it anymore. But I was also told the quickness in signing these people was to get this faction ready for the War Games and have a War Games match. But now it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Mm-hmm. So what you would have had would have been the Bloodline, who have also been bumped up to a 5, going up against Cross, Strowman, Loomis, Wyatt, and whoever else they added to. But that's not happening now. But that was the idea that was there for signing these people. So and then Karrion Kross has already been White Rabbit.
Yeah, in Lucha Underground, he's a White Rabbit.
What's that?
In Lucha Underground, he's a White Rabbit.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, so that it all kind of made sense. But he's not this White Rabbit that's there now. That's just the bunny rabbit that Bray had before. So.